I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. Yo, what's up? Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all having a lovely day. Hope you all had a nice Monday night. I definitely did. 2-0. You love to see it. Coming off an 0-2 Sunday, too. Beautiful. Beautiful. Shout out to the Warriors for looking like absolute trash and still getting the win. I'll never bet that team again. I was about to throw something through my television in the first quarter and a half of that game. Steph Curry is not good anymore.
What we said, Kyle?
I'm kicking.
Remember what I said, right? I said it looked too easy. I said I'm gonna stay off.
Dude, the shots Steph Curry was taking in the first quarter of that game, I was screaming. It's like, get him off the court. Get him off the court. Like, dude, 27-foot contested threes early in the shot clock. I was livid. But you know what? All is fine. We got the win. We got the win. We got the cover. You love to see it. I have to send this guy $25 because I said who can guess the hat I'm wearing, and dude nailed it. I've done that a bunch of times. No one's ever gotten it. Dude said Sixers. Jake Wags up there. So Jake, send me a DM on Twitter or whatever. I'll send you $25. So yeah, we got a lot of basketball tonight. I think we have 7 NBA games or 8 NBA games, I believe. Loaded college basketball night, too. So there's a lot of action on the board. No need to sit here and chit-chat. Let's get into it. First game up, CLV strikes again. I got Sixers at -1 last night. It's currently sitting, I believe, at 4.5. No, 4. It's mostly 4. I see a 4.5. I also see a 3.5. So, yeah, got some CLV in this one. Not really a long description for the pick here. Very simply, Philadelphia's red hot. They've covered 6 in a row. They can't stop scoring. I mean, even if you wanted to use the whole, oh, well, they've played a few bad defenses in a row. That's true. They played Denver a couple times. I mean, they did play some bad defenses, but you know what? Just play Boston. And yes, the Celtics stepped up in the fourth quarter. First 3 quarters, I mean, they were splashing on the Celtics, and that's the Celtics. So I have no reason to doubt this Philadelphia offense. Let's see if there's injury updates here. Still a bunch of question marks. To be honest, I'm not really worried about the injuries here for Philadelphia because the players that are listed as questionable for the most part, they haven't been playing. So this hot streak that I'm talking about with this Philadelphia offense, that's without Embiid. That's without Drummond. That's without who's the other one that's waiting?
Well, it was Caleb Martin, but then he obviously got traded.
Oh, right. Caleb Martin was the other one, right. So the hot streak I'm talking about is not really the players that are listed as questionable. So, yeah, Philadelphia's on a heater. Maxi's killing it up against a Dallas Mavericks team that's not playing the best defense right now. I think we all can agree that healthy Mavericks will be a problem, especially protecting the rim with Anthony Davis and Lively and all that. These guys aren't playing. So as it's built right now, sure, Gafford's a problem. As Prop Beaver and Mode, I will tell you, they love Gafford. Definitely playing some excellent defense. But as a whole, the way Philadelphia's playing, if you're asking me if I would bet it now at 4, probably not. But I wouldn't take Dallas. I would need 6 to take the Mavs. So at -1, I like my bet here. Philadelphia, right in the hot hand.
I didn't have an official play in this one. Embiid's point total is super low, 23.5, where you can get 25 plus for +125 at ESPN Bet. I didn't bet it because, like, who the hell knows what he's going to look like in a month. Sometimes he comes back and he looks refreshed and he scores 15 points in the first quarter. Sometimes he has a long layoff and he goes 1 of 8 from the field in the first quarter and he just looks completely disinterested. I would rather not try to decide what Embiid we're going to get. But, I mean, if you think he's going to look good, like he did when he missed a couple weeks, like against the Bulls, he came back first game. After missing like a month, scored 31 points. And that was after going like 0-5 in the first quarter. So sure, he can do it. I'm not betting it. And I'm just staying away from this game entirely.
All I have to say is Prop Beaver, I notice you're on the screen, which means you have a lock. Prop Beaver, aren't you like 12-3 in your last 15 bets?
Don't jinx him, Cal. Be quiet, bro.
Yeah, shut the hell up, bitch. All right. So, yeah, we do have a prop in this game. I don't know why the graphics are like out of order. I organized on.
It's probably because a madman set him up.
Yeah, I guess things are all out of sorts today, which is could be, some could see it as frustrating. I won't.
Some could.
Some could. I won't.
Is that a Klay Thompson?
I won't do that. Yeah, we're betting on Klay Thompson today. Posting in Discord 1.5 units today at 17.5. Then PJ Washington got ruled out, obviously. If you could still get the 18.5 like you can on DK, I would still play that for 1.5. I truly love the spot for him here. If you're getting at 19.5, I would bump that down to a unit. It's coming off a heinous 1 of 10 performance against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But in that game, there's no Kyrie, there's no PJ Washington, there's no Daniel Gafford. For Cleveland to focus on defensively, of course, a catch-and-shoot guy like Klay Thompson is going to be in complete and utter hell against one of the best three-point defenses in the NBA. Now he's going to head to Philly to face one of the worst three-point defenses in the NBA since January 1st, 27th in efficiency, 26th in frequency, and as most of you know, to where Klay Thompson lives and dies, a career-high 65% of his shots are coming behind the arc this year, and Kyrie's going to be back with him on the floor. This is a spot he's now smashed his line in 3 straight games, averaging 25 PRAs, 26% usage, 7 rebound chances, 5 potential assists. So he's flying over the marks in all his normal spots. And with 18% plus usage on the road, Klay is 9-3 to the over. With 5 plus rebound chances and 3 plus potential assists this season, he's over in 72% of the games. And the real sweet spot I like, if you know me, you know I like my rest splits. The dude with 1 day rest on the road this season is cracked out. He's 8-1 to the over. He's averaging 22.3 PRAs. I think we see him step up with the perception of this team is very down post-Luka trade. He's the only one we saw speak to the media post-trade. Seems like everybody else is just withering right now. I think he's going to be the one to step up in this matchup. So give me Klay Thompson over the PRAs.
Believes in Klay. Chris, do you believe in Klay?
No, I don't. I believe in Prop Beaver though. So
Thank you.
That's all you really need to know. So Prop Beaver believes in Klay. I believe in Prop Beaver. I still don't believe in Klay though. But this game, I can't lay. I don't want to lay with Philly. I get it. You got the best number. I was looking at this game last night. It was making my head hurt, even with the thought process of like Joel Embiid potentially coming back. Like, I guess if I had to play it right now, I'd take Dallas plus the points. I get Philly has been hooping. Dallas is coming off the worst loss of, probably their franchise history, losing by, 43 points against Cleveland the other day. Philly is also like, Embiid comes in. You're not worried Cal Embiid comes in and just like throws everything off. They start playing a lot slower. Like, you're not worried about that at all?
Not really, no.
No? Okay. All right, cool. I'm not trying to talk you off your position anyway. I'm just saying that I feel like they could do that. Philly's been laying points at the crib 8 times this season. They're 1-7 against the number.
Yeah, I get it. This is a new Philly team, though. Maxi's taking over. If Embiid comes in, he knows he's going to chill, protect the rim, play second fiddle. Next.
Modai's on point with these YouTube comments. He mentioned on Twitter yesterday he had a great day. He checks his YouTube comments. Somebody complains about the one loser. We got Ram Chandra. Beaver sold us on a Kangwell. I'm sorry about going 5-2 yesterday, buddy. Sorry.
People crazy.
Jesus Christ.
You lost the bet? What an idiot.
What a moron. Boston, Cleveland. So I'm glad I didn't bet this one last night. I have to say I'm not really sure what the market's doing here. Betting this total up, I don't look. I get that both offenses should be able to score on these defenses. I get it. I mean, Cleveland's defense does seem back. They've played 4 great defensive games in a row, but let's not ignore the 10-11 games before that where they were struggling defensively. Boston's been scoring. And on the other side, the Cavs offense looks unstoppable. Boston's defense hasn't looked all that great. So I guess, so I get why you would think the offenses are going to be able to score on each other. But I don't see how these teams are running a pace fast enough to get up to 240 points. So I'm way off here. I was considering Cleveland under at 235. Now it's 238.5, which means the market's betting Celtics and over. So I'm way off here. I guess they think a possible 3-point party could get this up and over the total. We should see a lot of 3-point shooting. Boston has been a little bit vulnerable to the 3-point shot in their last handful of games. I think in their last 6 games, teams are shooting 39% against the Celtics from 3. So maybe that's it. Maybe they're thinking, hey, this doesn't have to be the fastest pace. We're just going to see a 3-point shootout. That's going to be a lot of points. I really don't know. I don't know. Clearly, somebody that has influence over the market or a group that has influence over the market is betting the over here. I don't know. You could put under up for me, but I'm not betting it because I'm clearly missing something here. The two times these two teams play, it was high scoring. Neither time got up. I mean, 120, 117, 115, 111. Not to mention Cleveland's coming off 4 straight great defensive games. It's looking like the Cavs defense might be back now that Evan Mobley's back on the floor. I don't know where 240 points are coming from. So I didn't bet it. I don't like feeling like I'm missing something, and I feel like I'm missing something here. So if you put a gun to my head and force me to place a bet, it would be under or possibly Cavs. But I'm not going to bet it because I feel like a sucker here that I'm missing an important aspect of this game. Chris, do you have any idea what's pushing this total up?
I leaned over last night, Kyle, at
really?
235, but yeah, and it's more so like I talked about this super strong trend of like whenever two good teams get together. We saw this earlier when OKC came to Cleveland. Remember, we were like, 230, like I can see that one going over. He scored 270 points, right? And Cleveland plays one way, and that's super up and down the floor. Now with Boston defense, kind of like OKC, very methodical, slow pace. Even though OKC has been playing a little bit faster recently. So at 238, Cal, I'm with you. Like I'm like, whoa. This could sneak under the total. I'm with you. I like Cleveland. I haven't bet it yet because I wanted to see what the market did as well. Exactly. I'm gonna be on Cleveland. I haven't bet him yet, but I just want to see where the market goes. Like it feels like a sucker play. Crazy to think that you're fading Boston and like it feels like you're on public action, but it's a lot of different things. So let's start with the straight up and ATS records. They played twice so far this season. Boston barely won the first one, didn't cover the spread. Cleveland won the second one, and they did cover the spread. So Boston covered both numbers so far. The Cavs have been short home favorites just 6 times this season. They're 5-1 straight up and against the number. The only loss they had came last week when they were playing against the Rockets, and that was the game that Evan Mobley either didn't play or it was his first game back. Then when I look at Cleveland, when I look at Boston being vulnerable from the 3-point line, like you said, Kyle, they are absolutely just slumping right now. Defensively, teams are shooting 40.5% from the 3-point line. We know all Cleveland wants to do is shoot a bunch of threes. So I looked at Boston, 6-21 against the spread, coming off a win. They exerted a lot of energy. This was the cherry on top for me. They were down 26 to Philly the other day. 26 to Philly. That was the biggest. That was the biggest deficit overcame this season. They tied for whoever else overcame a 26-point deficit. That takes a lot of energy and effort. You know what the Cavs did on Sunday? They beat the Mavs and scored 50 points in the first quarter. The game was over with before they threw the ball up in the air, and none of the starters played more than 23 minutes. So I'm gonna be on the square side. The side is 24-3, I think, at home. 24-2 or whatever it is that they are at home. I'm gonna be on the Cavs money line here. I don't care what the number goes to. As long as we don't get any injuries, I'll be on Cavs.
It's tough to say who I'd be rooting for in this game. I hate the city of Boston with the fire of 1,000 suns, but also I can't stand this Cavs team, and I can't stand how people talk about them. I want them to go down in flames. So tough to pick a rooting side.
Just
here.
a hater, Kyle.
I want like a quadruple overtime game where both teams shoot 21% from the floor. Modi?
Donovan. What are we laughing at?
I bet Donovan Mitchell too. I bet his points prop over. That's what you about to say, Modi? I did too.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell. So I took him over 25.5 for plus 100. That was earlier this morning. Right now, the way I would play it is you can get over 26.5 for plus 106. And then I put a half unit on 30 plus as well. His hit rate against this team is crazy. 2 times he's played the Celtics this year, 35 points in both those games. Played the Celtics 5 times last year. Scored 30 or more points in 3 of those 5 games. The only 2 he didn't score 30 points, he had 29. And it's not just like, he owns this team. It's a matchup thing. Like there's a reason why he's played well against the Celtics. I talk about it all the time, so people that tune in are probably bored of it, but it's just the way they play their drop coverage. And Chris, you've mentioned this too. Like they stick to shooters, and the big man drops when he's guarding the pick and roll. So whenever they run a pick and roll with Donovan Mitchell, whether it's Horford or Porzingis, they're going to drop a little bit, and they're going to let guys like Donovan Mitchell pull up either from 3-point range or from mid-range. And Donovan Mitchell's happy to do that. 60% of players with Donovan Mitchell scoring profile have hit their over against the Celtics. And it's because they give up the 4th most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers in the entire NBA. And you look at Donovan Mitchell, like his hit rate on the year for him going even over the 26.5 number is not going to be that impressive. He's a sink or swim, feast or famine kind of guy. Like he's gone over this number 26.5 in only 12 of his last 30 games. but in 9 of those games, he scored 30 or more points. So that's why I like the ladder up to 30 plus points. And Donovan Mitchell's also the kind of guy who, like, if it's a team that Cleveland's going to blow out, he just won't show up. He's not someone like Ant who you can just count on to give full effort every time. So like in a matchup against the Celtics, yeah, he's going to show up. It's a good matchup for him. So yeah, Donovan Mitchell, unit on the over 26.5, half unit on 30 plus.
So you're questioning Donovan Mitchell's effort?
Correct.
Against poor teams, yeah. So Kyle, you remember like a couple months ago, I was telling you that Donovan Mitchell was saying after like one of the post-game interviews that, you know, they were going to be kind of not playing around, but he was just going to try to get his teammates involved. And you was like, oh, Chris is betting on Donovan Mitchell up and over his 4.5 assists because he thinks that they're going to be playing around and experimenting tonight. And he went over his assist prop.
I don't remember that specifically, but the tone you used, that is something I would say, yes.
So he's had 6 assists, I think, in every one of those games. To what you said, Modai, to your point, like it's about like shot attempts. So he's only averaging like 18 shots a game, right? But when he's played the Celtics, he shot 21 and 29 times so far this season, right? So when it's like 21 shots or more, he's averaging 30, and he's up and over his 25.5 in 13 of the 17 games. So if it's like a really good opponent, yeah. But if not, that's why his points prop always kind of dingling around between like 21, 22.5, 23.5. So I'm on Donovan Mitchell as well.
That's why his points prop is always dingling around.
Always dingling around, right, Chris?
Just kind of dingling around, 23, 24, just jingling,
You got our guest acting all sus now, Modai. Jesus Christ.
Prop Beaver's on the screen, which means he has some ammo in the chamber.
Yeah, I do.
Another lock.
I do have some ammo in the chamber. And it's kind of in the same vein as both you, Kyle, and kind of the same vein as Modai. I'm taking Jarrett Allen under 11.5 points here. You get that at plus money pretty much across the board. If you want to drink the vig on the 12.5, the juice at like minus 130, you could. I don't think it's necessary here. I think taking that plus money on 11.5 is some really good value here. The reason why is if you look at his last 10 games, I mean, he's hit that 12 plus mark his last 7 to 10. Obviously, he's averaging, I think, around 13 plus points per game. But this is just a terrible matchup for him. And you see every time he faces Boston with Mitchell active, he just gets no usage. He's a non-factor offensively. He's under his last 5 of 6 against the Boston Celtics, averaging just 8 points per game. And most importantly for us, we're here for the volume. Just 6 field goal attempts in these games. With the other big 3 pieces healthy and 9 or less field goal attempts this season, Allen's under his last 14 of 20 overall and last 9 of 10 at home. The only real centers you see have success against this Boston team for the most part are those who could stretch the floor. Guys who live at the rim, like Allen, are just not doing well against them. The Boston boasts one of the best rim defenses in the league. If you look since January 1st, they're top 10 in both rim efficiency, rim frequency, and the fact that they're 7th in defensive free throw rate during the same span. And the Cavs should be motivated to keep their top guys on the floor here with nobody currently on the injury report. And I love the value, especially at that plus money that DK is offering. So, yeah, I mean, if you look, 5, 5, 7, 6, 6, and 9 field goal attempts those last 6 outings. So, with the volume low, I know the total's high, but I think Allen is the one who suffers here. And we see the guards, Garland and Mitchell, go off in the spot for Cleveland.
Next up, Houston, Brooklyn. So Rockets on the road, Rockets on a back-to-back, and you may be thinking, Kyle, how could you lay that many points on a back-to-back? Well, not really a travel. They were in Manhattan. They're now in Brooklyn. For those of you not familiar with New York City, it's not very far away. So not exactly a travel here. But you might be thinking, Kyle, how could you lay this many points in a road game with no days off? Very simple. When Ben Simmons doesn't play, the Nets are the epitome of trash. They are the rock bottom. They are a G League team. Go ahead and look at the Nets' projected rotation tonight. Go ahead. I dare you to identify all the players on that projected rotation for the Nets. If you can identify all those players, I'm impressed because I fucking can't. Without Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons is kind of has like maybe not the most perfect comp, but kind of like the Draymond Green situation where the stats don't always look great, but he does make an impact when he's on the floor. I believe the Nets are 9-6 against the spread in the last 15 games where Ben Simmons plays. He does make an impact. The Nets rebound better. They play better defense. They actually play significantly better offense. His teammates shoot significantly better when he's in the game. So he makes an impact on both sides of the floor and in rebounding. The last 11 games where Ben Simmons did not play, the Nets are 1-10, 2-9 against the spread. 1-10 straight up, 2-9 against the spread. They pretty much get blown out every single game Ben Simmons doesn't play. I know that there's no Fred VanVleet here. I know the Rockets are on a back-to-back. I know Tari Eason has been ruled out. I honestly don't care. Looks like Şengün's going to return. And if you look at the Rockets lineup here, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Jason Tate, Şengün. I mean, this is still a lineup more than capable of beating the Brooklyn Nets by double digits. So I got Houston -9 last night. Looks like it's at 10 now. And that's without Simmons, blind fade, if you ask me. So, yeah, I'm on the Rockets here.
Can I just interject? Throwing Jason Tate into your cap was fucking crazy.
Go look at the Nets' projected rotation. He would be a superstar in that Nets team right now.
Okay, maybe. But otherwise, I agree. I mean, the line's at 10 for a reason.
No.
Throwing Jason Tate in the cap was crazy.
No. Let's talk about the Nets.
That's fine.
Okay. Oh, you're right. Reese Beekman. Who'd you rather have, Reese Beekman or Jason Tate?
I'd rather have Tate.
Exactly. Okay. Go ahead, Modai.
I rest my case.
Modai's about to be like, I'll take Reese Beekman's over.
Yeah, I have Reese Beekman over Pierre. No, I'm just kidding. I've never heard that. I don't think that's a real name. I think that's a made-up name.
Yes, it is.
I love betting on like random guys, and I've never heard of that guy in my life. Anyways, I have Amen Thompson 20+ points. You can actually get a better price. I got plus 150. Plus 150. It's currently plus 155. I'm guessing that's because Şengün was ruled in and he was questionable this morning and he missed last night. I'm not scared off of Şengün. I love this matchup for Amen Thompson. As my dog comes to say hello. Going up against the Nets. Nets are the 4th worst transition defense in the NBA. 5th worst. And that's where sorry, my dog got me all flustered. Anyways, that's where Amen Thompson scores the majority of his points. Next up after that, in terms of play type, the second most is free throws. They foul at the 8th highest rate in the NBA. That's top 2 for Amen Thompson. He scores 2/3 of his buckets in the restricted area. The Nets are the 7th worst defense guarding the restricted area. Amen Thompson's been awesome without Jabari Smith Jr., who's been out for like a month now. He's scored 20 or more points in exactly half of his games. So obviously, like, betting isn't that simple, but a 50% hit rate at plus 150 odds will be profitable in the long run. I also like the fact that he just played this Nets team and was terrible. He was 4 of 16, 0 of 2 from the field. I don't think that's necessarily something that's going to continue game over game. He was awesome last night. Fred VanVleet's missed 4 games. He scored 20+ in 3 of the 4. Granted, one of them was last night when Şengün also missed, so it's 2 of 3 with Şengün and without Fred VanVleet. But either way, I love the matchup. I love how he's been playing. And I'll take Amen Thompson 20+ points, especially at the plus 155 price.
So I know that's a thing on sports betting YouTube. When someone's dog shows up or is hurt during a stream, you take the underdog. But if it's Modai's dog, so I think that would be indicative of taking the favorite. Modai's dog is a fade, bro. Chris is
true.
Chris is
not the broken. That wasn't the broken toe dog though. That was the other one. That was a healthy dog.
That was a 10-toed, fully healthy dog.
The dog's got
Correct.
10 toes down.
10 toes down.
10 toes non-broken.
Chris, what are your thoughts on Reese Beekman tonight?
Oh man, I don't have thoughts on Reese Beekman, but Jason Tate's a hell of a player. I like Jason Tate a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a great player. I like Jason Tate. This game though, Kyle, it's a skip for me. Like I don't want anything to do with Houston. It's not that it's the second leg of a back-to-back. Like you said, it's a very short travel. For me, it's more so 6 game and 9 nights with no rest. I think Brooklyn is a fade, but I also think Houston is a fade right now. I think Houston is going to go through a little stretch where they don't cover a few games, especially now that they're down, 3 rotational players. But they could win the game by double digits. It's not something I'm putting my money on, so I'll skip.
Next. And by the way, Toast is triggered because apparently Reese Beekman was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You're muted, Toast. No one can hear you. All right, next. He said we can see him in the background. He's waiting for college basketball, and he's like, how could we not? How the disrespect?
Beekman catching a stray. What the hell?
All right. Knicks, Raptors. Interesting one. So, as you guys know, I just lost fading the Raptors on Sunday. I laid 5 or 5.5 with the Clippers. Wasn't even close. Raptors took control of that game early and honestly never let up. The Raptors are in control of that game start to finish. Now, excuse me. It was a West Coast team Sunday afternoon game in fucking Canada. So yeah, maybe not the spot you would expect to see the Clippers' best fastball for sure. That being said, I mean, is that not a similar spot we're looking at here for the Knicks? They just played a really tough game. They came down to the wire. They ended up winning by 6, but that game was tied with like a minute left. That was a tough game down to the wire without OG Anunoby playing, and the Rockets were hobbled too. So to finish that game, a huge game against the Rockets, immediately fly up to Toronto. I don't love the spot for the Knicks. You got to keep in mind the Knicks are 1-5 against the spread on 0 days rest this year. This is literally the least profitable team on 0 days rest. The Knicks don't do well here. 6 games this year on 0 days rest. They're 1-5 against the spread. So blindly fading the Knicks in these spots have been profitable. Now, did I do it? No. But I think it's very realistic that the Raptors... I mean, there's also revenge here. You got Quickly. You got RJ Barrett. OG Anunoby, is he playing?
No, it's actually Barrett that's out. Barrett has a concussion.
Oh.
Barrett's out and OG's out.
And OG's been ruled out. When I looked, it was... Yeah, it would be Raptors or pass. I couldn't get myself up to do it. And the reason is I still don't know what the Raptors are. I don't know if the Raptors are going to continue this... They were playing great defense, right? And then I faded them with the Bulls because Quickly was back. So I don't know if the Raptors defense is still there. Jamal Shed is back in the lineup, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I guess Raptors are past, but I couldn't get any money down on it.
I'm going to let Modai explain his pick. I was getting an oil change this morning. I decided to pull up YouTube because I'm bored waiting for these guys to get their shit together and get it going here. It's taking 50 minutes for an oil change. And I pull up Modai's video, and I see Cat over assist. I thought it was a fantastic play, so why don't you go ahead and explain it? I tailed.
Oh, thank you, Prop Beaver. So that just you saying you hated the other 4 picks that I had. This is the one that you liked.
Precisely.
No, yeah, I'm just such a sharp that I already had plays in those other games. Besides the Bulls game, I didn't love the Vooch pick, but I like the other ones.
Wow, way to just spoil my play in that one. Yeah, I have Karl Anthony Towns 4+ assists. It's a matchup play against the Raptors. The Raptors have given up the most assists to centers on the entire season. 7 of 11 centers, similar to Cat, have hit their assist prop over. And it's like Evan Mobley has played 3 games against the Raptors. He hit his over in 2 of 3. Cat has played the Raptors 3 times. He hit his over in 2 of 3. One of them he had 6 assists. The other one he had 7. Now he did miss it in his most recent start against them with only 2. But again, 6 and 7 the other 2 games. Bam. In 3 games against the Raptors, 10 assists, 7 assists in 5. So it's like these guys that are like the stretch bigs, whatever, have success against the Raptors. And that's really what we're betting on here. Him to get to 4 assists. He hit it in 2 or 3 games against the Raptors with 6 and 7. And the price at plus 145 is also another reason why I really like this one. So yeah, Cat assists.
Someone says Raptors are a dinosaur. Yes, they are. It's like very observant.
Yeah,
that is true.
That is. I was going to bet it, but I was like, you know what? Raptors are a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I guess to add on to what Modai said, so Toronto's been incredible for the assists this year. They're allowing the most to centers on the season. And then for some reason, Cat's just so good at dishing it out on the road. Over his last 12 of 16 on the road through 3 matches against Toronto this season, 2-1. If you look at the 2 games where he had his potentials attract, he's averaging 8 potential assists in those games with just 4+ on the road this season, 12-2 to the over with 6+ this season overall. 15-3. Now we're going to face a Toronto team that's playing at one of the fastest paces in the league. I just think he's going to have so many opportunities to hit this total. So to be getting this at plus 145 like it is currently offered on Hard Rock right now, I thought that was way too good to pass up. So kudos to Modai for the find. Hopefully we could all cash out together.
What about Chris?
Yeah, this was one, Kyle, I was looking at. It was a 6.5 last night when I was handicapping this game. And I was like, man, I like that. That seems too good to be true. I'm glad I stayed off because I really don't want anything to do with them. Yesterday, Kyle, we talked about like Pacers and Jazz, right? And you're like, I'm down to like take some Jazz, right? Especially if they're gonna be home and healthy. The reason why you didn't do it, you remember? You're like, we just don't have enough data. Like we haven't seen enough, right? And that's what it feels like with Toronto. Because even with now Shed's back, right? But now we don't have RJ, and then we have Quickly with no RJ, right? So I'm expecting the defense to be all over the place. I can't play Toronto though. I can't play the Knicks though. Like you mentioned, they're 5-14 against the spread playing unrested this season. 2-6 when they're playing unrested and have to travel. So if they have had to travel in between that, including 4 straight games where they didn't cover it. And those games came against the Nets, the Bulls, the Nets, and the Bulls in that order. Also just 1-7 playing with the rest disadvantage. So I've been fading the Knicks on second leg of back-to-backs, not doing it tonight. I think if I had to play the game, I'd still probably be taking Toronto, but I'm not playing this one. I'll be on the sideline.
So some good analysis in the comments here. So in addition to being a dinosaur, raptors are also known as any birds of prey, like falcons, hawks, and eagles. Next game. Chris goes.
I'm just thinking like, so we got a raptor in the Super Bowl. That's cool.
Yeah. Technically a raptor. Raptors everywhere, man. Everywhere you look, there's raptors.
Everywhere.
Heat Bulls. This is the only one of my bet that I didn't get CLV on. And I don't really understand. Maybe it's because the pace of these Miami Heat games has been a little bit unpredictable. Personally, I like what I'm seeing from the Heat in the last 4 games. I was checking out the numbers. They're starting to look like Miami of last year. And what I mean by that, if you remember last year, dude, no one could run the fast break on the Heat. They did not let you run on them. Their numbers against the fast break in terms of limiting opportunities and playing defense when they got those opportunities, elite. They were one of the best defenses. It was them and Houston were the 2 best defenses in the NBA against the fast break. Well, it seems like they're coming back around to that because in the last 4 games, they've really locked it down. And if Miami's locking down the fast break, what the fuck is Chicago going to do offensively? I mean, this is not a great offense. The only thing they could do is run. So I lean towards the under, but what I actually placed is Bulls team total under 113.5. But you could still get that. Like I said, it's the only one of my plays that didn't move. I actually got it at minus 125. I think you can get an even better price than that. So it might even moved against me a few cents. I'm not really sure what I'm missing here, where we're thinking the Bulls are going to put up 115 plus points against the Heat. Maybe they're saying the Heat suck. I don't know. I think this is a good bet, but clearly the market disagrees with me. So I'm on Bulls team total under here.
Hey, Cal, so any bet that you place in the Chicago game is a terrible bet. Just FYI.
Right.
Chris, for some reason, your audio is coming in double right now. Would you mind leaving and come back real quick, and we'll have Modi speak?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool.
He sounded good for me, if that helps.
Yeah, he sounded fine.
Yeah,
too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I'm the producer. I just wanted to take control right there, you know? Want to
Sure,
nip it in
sure.
the
No,
bud just in case.
Everybody loves a guy who can take control, Beaver. So please, and no problem.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to have a play that Prep Beaver hates. It's Nikola Vucevic over 10.5 rebounds. I got this at minus 120. You can admittedly get a better price. Maybe he was right. It's minus 118 now at FanDuel and MGM. This is a matchup play against the Heat. The Heat, depending on what source you look at, have allowed either the 4th most or the 6th most rebounds to centers in the entire NBA. And if you just look like blanketly, they've allowed the 7th most rebounds. And Vooch, has been pretty good from a rebounding perspective, hitting this in 18 of his last 30 games. Hit it in his last 15 of his last 22 as well, 68% hit rate there. And if you just look at games against teams in the bottom half of rebounds allowed, he's gone over in 18 of 27 games, 2/3 hit rate against these matchups. So yeah, Vooch over 10.5 rebounds, minus 118 now at FanDuel is the play.
Steez is in the comments. Steez actually came out and decided to gamble with his friends today. Where double from Steez, and actually
I like that. I was debating where.
And he typed it in all caps. If you know Steez, he's just a little off. But you know what? Steez did call, and I hate giving this psychopath credit, but he did call the Lakers money line in Madison Square Garden the other night, and he called it like 6 hours before the game. That would have been a nice payout. I don't know if he actually bet it, but he did call it.
I got people in the comments calling me a dickhead. I, on my end, heard Chris in double voices. I did not want you people flooding the comments.
Whoa, what do you mean, you people?
Whoa. I did not want the comments flooding.
No, what I was laughing at is someone said confirmed Beaver was the one, or Modi was the one that gave Beaver an oil change. I don't know why I started laughing.
That was good.
That was good stuff. I'm going to go. I got to let my dog out. She keeps crying at the door, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
Chris, what are your thoughts? Did you see my Bulls team total under the video last night?
I did not. No, but I actually, I don't have the vocabulary that Prop Beaver does, but some of those bad words that he says about Will Levis is how I kind of feel about the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls. Like, that's just how I view these teams. Like, they're super inconsistent teams. I have no idea. I bet the under, Kyle. I bet the Bulls team total under.
I'm down
against Detroit Sunday.
Oh.
I think it was Sunday. Remember they played Detroit? I bet the team total under. You know what they did? They shot 19 for 52 from the 3-point line. Detroit was top 10 against the 3-point shot. So you mentioned run fast, shoot threes. That's all they want to do. They can't stop a nosebleed with just Vucevic down there. And now there's no Levine. Like, Who knows? They both of these teams are 3-7 against the number last 10 games. Best of luck if you're betting this. This is a 1-800 gambling game.
I actually did bet this. I
wish you luck, Gal. But I hate the Bulls. You know how I feel about the Bulls. Bulls free died for me until 2029.
If the Heat defense is back and the last 4 games are not an anomaly and the Heat defense is back, that should be an easy bet to cash. But we'll see. Next game. Where did Modi?
The Ware
Where
play,
did Modi go?
I do like the Ware play a lot.
Modi's taking care of his pup.
Plus 135.
He's taking care of his pup.
He had to turn off the screen for
He had to go take care of his pup.
Yeah. Well, there are people speculating he's trying to give me another oil change, and folks, he's not.
Indiana, Portland. To be honest,
thing.
I accidentally skipped this game in the video last night. I didn't even realize it until after I uploaded the video. I was going to add the timestamps after, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't even record this game. Don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I would just say Blazers are how can you step in front of Portland right now? This team's a wagon. I really thought I almost bet the Suns last night. I almost bet that. I was really close to pulling the trigger, and then the Suns went down early, and then they came back and had the lead at half, and I was like, knew it. I knew I left money on the table, didn't bet the Suns team. Wasn't even watching the game, and then someone tagged me in the Discord and was like, Blazers wagon continues. Like, what? Those motherfuckers won? I don't know what's going on. There's something in the water in Portland, and whatever it is working. So I wouldn't step in front of the Blazers. I guess Blazers are pass. I'm not going to bet it because a lot of the things I just said about Portland, Indiana's like 10-3 against the spread in their last 13. So Pacers are also a bit of a wagon right now. So yeah, it's Portland or pass for me. I don't have a ton of interest in this game. It feels a bit coin flippy, if you ask me.
Coin flippy.
Also, I'm sorry to cut you off. Also,
go ahead.
Remember last year, Chris, Portland was the best team in the NBA against the number on 0 days rest. This is
still good this year.
Yeah, the Portland for whatever reason on 0 days. 6-2 against the spread,
6-2.
and they were 6-2 against the spread on 0 days rest this year. The best team in the NBA on 0 days rest last year. So the fact that they played last night may even help them. I don't know. This Portland team just defies all basketball logic.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gal. Offensively, defensively, you know the crazy thing about Portland is, and this is how you know it's an effort thing. They were the worst transition defense in the NBA. Like they still for the full season, they're still bottom 3. Last 5 games, they're top 3. Like they're not even letting teams get out and run. Like it's crazy. They're a better offensive team, defensive team. And they're playing at a really slow pace. My hiccup here, Cal, with not taking them here in this spot, because it does kind of feel like the Pacers are playing with their food. They jumped out to like a 17-point lead against Atlanta at home last week in the last game of that homestand. That was over the weekend. They ended up winning the game by like 5 because I had a 5.5 ticket. I ended up losing that one, even though the line closed at 9.5. Then they play around with their food last night against Utah as well. They had to exert a lot of energy, right? Now you're traveling out of altitude into Portland. And you mentioned Portland being on the second leg of a back-to-back. Here's my hesitation. Not only is the second leg of a back-to-back third game in 4 nights for Portland, they also had to go to overtime last night. So I think if I like Portland in the spot, I'm probably looking at them early just in case they do run out of gas late. Like
Portland doesn't run out of gas, bro. They're
right. That second leg of back-to-back. I don't know what the actual overtime is though, Kyle. So a second leg of back-to-back and overtime, and they won.
They have a bottomless tank of gas. The Blazers. What about Matt?
So wait, what would you play there? In
Portland first half. He said
first half. Okay.
Portland first half. Yeah, Portland first half. Just in case they ran out of gas late, is what I would look towards.
They have a bottomless tank, bro. They don't run out of gas.
Everyone knows that.
What about Matt?
I didn't bet this game. 2 teams coming off a back-to-back that I don't really trust. It would be if I had to bet, if someone needed a prop, it would be Denny Avdia points, just because he's been awesome. It's a good matchup for him. The Pacers allow the 9th most points in the paint, 8th most actually, and in his last 11 games against teams bottom 10 in terms of points in the paint allowed, Avdia has gone over 16.5 in 9 of those games. It was a little more a hit or miss if you include the entire season. Like on the entire year, it's 10 of 20. But he's been much better recently, which obviously coincides with him playing more minutes and just playing better. So it would be Avdia points, but I didn't bet it.
Avdia points. And
Cal, real quick, we gotta mention Miles Turner. He's also listed as questionable. Like that's something you seriously want to take into your handicap. With the way Portland can rebound the basketball, I forgot to mention that.
So prop beaver's on the screen, and I spy. Is that a Halliburton prop?
Yeah, it's a Halliburton under assist here. So we took Nembhard under. I mean, we took Nembhard's over an assist yesterday, and in that write-up, I mentioned to you guys how Halliburton's assist chances, potential assists for a better word, have just completely fallen off of a cliff lately. And they continued. You're only getting 6 assists against the Utah Jazz, for Christ's sakes. What the fuck is going on? So, excuse my language, but that is insane. This is not the Tyrese Halliburton that I knew and loved, that I was cashing out 12 plus assists regularly. This is just absolutely insane here. My one concern for this bet going into today, placing it this morning, was that we were going to get an Andrew Nembhard is all of a sudden questionable, because Nemby's the one guy who's been stealing those potentials, but he didn't get announced questionable. It was Miles Turner, it was Aaron Nesmith, and you could get minus 115 on DraftKings right now. So I'm really liking this one. So for some detail, Halliburton's diming dramatically down lately. He's failed to clear the mark his last 6 to 8 games, having just 7 assists per game on 13 potentials. And he's had 15 or less potentials in the majority of those games. With 15 or less potential assists, this is a guy under 80% of his contests this season. He's having just 7.2 assists per game, and he's under 6 straight on the road, averaging just 6 assists per game. Now, if you look at his recent history against Portland, it's excellent with it, but that was a different Halliburton, as I just mentioned, and this is a very different Portland team. They're trying defensively right now, and they've been excellent at limiting point guard assists. The last 14 to 20 point guards they've faced have now been held under their assist line, and more recently, the last 11 of 12 point guards they've faced have now been held under their assist line. In fact, if you look, the last 30 days, they've allowed the third fewest assists per game to point guards per 48 minutes at 6.6. Last 2 weeks, they're first, allowing just 4.6 per 48 minutes, and the fact that Portland plays some of the best defense in the NBA on 0 days rest, and the Halliburton still has 15 or less potential assists his last 7 to 10 without Wemby, in case we get an emergency scratch, and I really love this one. So, yeah, Halliburton under assist. Never thought I'd see the day, truly.
He loves it. He loves this one.
I love it, folks.
Next game. Last game up, and this is interesting. Kind of trying to catch my bearings here. What is this Lakers team right now? And I'm not referring to the blockbuster trade that has robbed me of my Twitter news feed for the last 48 hours. I'm referring to how the Lakers have looked on the court recently. LeBron's looking like 31-year-old LeBron. The offense looks really good. Really, that game against the Knicks was impressive. The fast break.
We're back, baby.
Okay, then bet it.
I'm just kidding.
They're back, and so you have to put your money where your mouth is.
So yeah, my bet for this game, I said it last night. Didn't actually place this one. I had 3 bets down. I already told you guys what they were. This would probably be the 4th if I was to place a 4th. I think this team total is just too low for the Lakers. It's based on the fact. Okay, I think this team total for the Lakers is based on the defense the Clippers were playing 2 weeks ago. The Clippers defense hasn't looked all that great the last handful of games. In fact, in their last 5 games with Kawhi on the floor, the defensive rating is up over 114. And that probably sounds crazy if you subscribe to this channel, because you're probably like, Kyle, you were just flossing that Clippers defense. You were just trying to push that Clippers defense on us like a crack dealer last week. And that's true, because the Clippers defense with Kawhi Leonard had a defensive rating of 102. Right? And I was like, guys, when Kawhi's on the floor, this Clippers defense is unstoppable. They've played 3 games since then. The defense really hasn't looked great in any of them. So I made this take about the Clippers defense with Kawhi. I'm starting to think I just may have been off with that take. I don't know. The Clippers defense doesn't look all that great. And if the Clippers defense doesn't look all that great, why is the Lakers team total 105, 106 when they've been turning up the pace? They've been running the fast break. They've been efficient as hell. You know there's going to be a ton of eyes on the Lakers right now with what's going on. You really think LeBron's going to go out there and lay an egg in the Clippers-Lakers game with everyone watching, everyone talking about the Lakers right now? I think we're going to see LeBron's best fastball here, and 105.5 is a low total. The Clippers have also specifically struggled against the fast break. So if I'm the Lakers, don't let them set up their half-court defense. Let's run. I think this number's too low, and I'm kind of talking myself into this bet here.
Well, I'll follow that up real quick, Modai, just because take everything Cal said, and I'm saying it again, but then also put some numbers to it. The Lakers, we know them to be a pretty slow-paced team, bottom 10 in pace over the full season. Last 5 games, 15th in pace.
Here we go.
No AD. We expect them to run even more. And then do we expect them to play defense on the road? Absolutely not. I jumped on the total last night, Cal. I got 217.5 last night. Took the over. I think that's the right side. I think it's going to be a layup line. Zubac should get whatever it is that he wants. If the Lakers do, like if JJ Redick tries that double teaming thing, because that's what happened with the Knicks, right? Like they were double teaming Karl Anthony Towns. He never got, like, he was kind of flustered. He never got really situated in the game, and he wasn't making those passes. But if they do that, I think, they'll be kicking out. Also, Norman Powell is back. He missed the game in Toronto the other day. So I think we see fast pace. I think we see no defense. The Lakers should have the Clippers should have an absolute layup line. The Lakers don't have a true center out there to be able to slow down Zubac. So I think the full game goes over here, Cal. I love this total. I don't believe in that Lakers offense, but I think that they'll be able to get to, like you said, a low number. The Clippers are being priced, Cal, as if the Clippers are playing defense at home. On last 10 games, they're 19th in defensive rating. On the full season at home, second best defensive rated team. So that's what you got to ask yourself, right? But I think it's going to be played with pace. The last, I think, 4 games between these two teams are going up and over that number. So low CLV for me. Hopefully we get an over to 218 because that's what I got, 217.5.
So some of you might be asking after what I just said, Kyle, why are you not taking the Lakers plus 8.5, right? Like I was basically just glazing the Lakers' recent fast break success. Couple things. Number one, I think the Lakers are a super public dog tonight. Not that that's a reason that I didn't bet them, but the more so the reason I didn't bet them is Chris kind of hinted at it, talking about the Lakers' interior presence. The rebounding battle should be decisive in favor of the Clippers. Like the Lakers should be out rebounded 65-35. Like it should be a domination on the glass, and it's tough betting a basketball team going into the game knowing you're about to get cleaned up on the glass. So I don't think the Lakers can compete in the rebounding department without Anthony Davis, which is really keeping me off the Lakers plus the points. But I do think if I'm the Lakers, if I'm JJ Redick, run, speed the game up as much as possible. The more half-court basketball we see, the more it favors the Clippers. So if I'm the Lakers, Andale, run. So, yeah, I think I might bet this.
Rapido.
I mean, I'm going to be watching this game. Why not have a bet down, half a unit or something? Modi?
I didn't have an official bet in this one either. There's a couple player props that I liked. I just couldn't quite get there. Harden assists, I think, is a good look. He's gone, and I would play 10 plus. You can get 8.5, but it's super juiced. He's gotten 10 or more assists in 8 of 11 games with Kawhi Leonard since he came back. He's been good from an assist perspective recently. Zubac boards, I mean, you guys already kind of made the point for me, but like there's just nobody to contain him. He could get 6 offensive rebounds alone. Again, I ended up betting that one. He didn't play in the fourth quarter last game, which kind of scared me off of like what are his minutes going to look like. And then Norman Powell points, just because he's been so consistent and the books are still pricing it at the same number it's been the whole time. So maybe I'll put those in like a small SGP or something because I like the 3 of them, but I haven't done that yet and I didn't bet any of those individually.
What I heard a bunch of? Heard a bunch of fucking disrespect about my boy Jackson Hayes on the boards. I heard a bunch of, he's going to get devoured on the boards tonight. Oh, there ain't no chance for Jackson Hayes on the boards tonight. Oh, it's going to be 65-35 on the boards tonight. Shut the fuck up. You don't know shit about Jackson Hayes, okay? You don't know where he come from. You don't know nothing about laying around or none of that, okay? You don't know nothing about Jackson Hayes, okay? He only snagged 2 rebounds on 9 chances in his last start or that OD, okay? Cool. So why are we running to back him here? Well, the Knicks have been tough on centers on the glass all season. And with Cat's 3-ball ability, of course, the Lakers leaned on DFS a lot in that game. They had a lot of small ball center going on. But we got a traditional opposing center here at the rim in Zubac. And we're going to see 25-plus minutes for the young buck Jackson Hayes. If you go back to last year, with just 20-plus minutes, he's averaging 8.2 rebounds per game. We're getting 6.5 rebounds at plus 120 for a starting center in the NBA. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. If you look at the previous game against Washington, he's had 13 rebound chances in a blowout. He only played, I believe, 22 minutes, with just 12-plus rebound chances since 2021. He's over his last 26 to 29 games, averaging 9 rebounds per game. I know the Clippers have been tough on centers this season. They've actually allowed the last 6 of 8 they faced with a line over their total. So I think this is 40 to 50 cents too short. I'm going to play it I got it at an even price. I actually lost CLV. Even the books are down Jackson. I say screw all of you. You don't know shit about Jackson.
The comments were really fucking funny. But I wasn't specifically disrespecting Jackson Hayes. I was saying the Lakers are going to get dominated on the glass. That's not to say Jackson Hayes doesn't get his 7. I mean, shit. In fact, he probably will get his 7 because who else is rebounding on the team besides LeBron James? So, Yeah, dude, some of those comments were funny. Like someone must have spiked Beaver's oil change.
Modi.
All right, it's time to talk some college basketball.
All right.
Both these guys will be back tomorrow. You know where to find them. They both have their own YouTube channel. But yeah, see you guys both tomorrow.
All righty.
See you, gentlemen.
Best of luck tonight, fellas.
See ya. Best of luck, Chiefs.
Let's talk college hoops. We don't know where Toast is at today because he was just landing last night, missed the midnight stream. So I went through these games already last night, or at least a bunch of them. So we don't know. We got to find out where Toast is at on these. First one, Marquette +3. Set it and forget it. Marquette coming off the shellacking by their big brother UConn. Marquette wins outright. St. John's almost fumbling that game against Providence was embarrassing. Overrated. Marquette outright.
I honestly couldn't have said it. I honestly couldn't have said it better myself. If I'm not lying. I mean, I think he stole my notes some way when I was at his house. But regardless, Shaka Smart as a dog. There's no question about that. Plus, I hate the spot for St. John's, as Kyle mentioned, off that really embarrassing game against Providence, where they ended up winning, obviously. But they have one of their biggest games of the year, if not their biggest game of the year, on deck versus UConn. I truly think that's like one of their games that they have circled. Shaka Smart as a dog. They can force turnovers. St. John's can't shoot. I honestly just trust the guard play of Marquette more than I trusted of St. John's. I know that Kadari Richmond has been starting to play a much better, but Cam Jones is one of the best players in the country. I think that Joplin can match up with any of the bigs down there with St. John's. I think this is going to be a classic a classic Big East game where both these teams are going back and forth in the Garden. I'll gladly take the 2.5. I got 2.5. Kyle got 3. I think that Marquette wins the game as well.
People in the comments disagree with us, Toast.
Everybody loves the Johnnies tonight.
I don't think everyone loves the Johnnies, though, because the guys I did the show with last night, Trev, and they're on Marquette with us, but Wags is on the Johnnies. Helms is on the Johnnies.
I've seen a lot of love for the Johnnies today. This is like one of the few games I've gotten a lot of questions about.
I will say, if you're on St. John's, you didn't watch the second half against Providence, because I almost tossed my cookies watching it. Next game. I was outnumbered on the stream last night, Toast. They didn't understand. They were talking some Ole Miss shit, and I said, you guys don't get it. When Kentucky's as a dog, when Kentucky is catching points, they turn into another kind of monster. Yeah, Kentucky is, and they both know so much more about college basketball than I do. I wasn't really equipped to argue with them, but I was like, guys, just trust me.
Okay, well, here we all know we were there last year and how many times we took those Kentuckys plus the points, and then we came into this year and we were hesitant a couple of times because we said, well, we don't know if that has to do with Cal, right? That was one of the things. Well, Kentucky as a straight up underdog this year, 4-0 ATS, 4-0 straight up as well, and with an 11-point cover margin. I mean, so it's not only are they they're not just squeaking these wins out, they're essentially blowing these teams out. Blowing out might be a little bit aggressive, but I just don't see it here for Mississippi. Ole Miss, I mean, yes, they're coming off an Auburn game for one. That's going to be hell on them. And Kyle and I, we both watched that game together. It's not like they played bad. I think Auburn is very, very good. And I think every time that Ole Miss would get close, Auburn and one of their big stars would hit a 3 or an and 1 or something like that, or get a steal. And it was 5 quick points the other way. But at the same time, this Kentucky team, for whatever reason, I mean, yes, they got the blowout versus Arkansas. It is what it is. I mean, I think we were all happy on it. A lot of us were betting Arkansas at that time. But if you take that away, I mean, they're playing a lot of close games. So for an Ole Miss team that I don't think I really trust offensively, and not to mention the fact that Ole Miss can't rebound for shit. They're one of the worst, if not the worst, rebounding team in the conference, especially on the offensive end, and they're not much better on the defensive end. Not that Kentucky's fantastic defensively, but Kentucky's so much bigger than them. I don't think that Ole Miss is going to be getting a whole bunch of extra shots here today. And then also, if you take a look at Kentucky, they're playing a lot of close games. They lost against Alabama at home. That was a 5-point game. They lost to Vanderbilt on the road. That was a 6-point game. They beat Tennessee by 5. They beat Texas A&M by 11, Mississippi by 5, Georgia by 6. I mean, so it's in conference play. A lot of these games are pretty close, given a couple other different results, but I just think that 5 with this Ole Miss team is just way.
It's down to 3.5 now.
Oh, is it? Okay, that makes more sense then, because I just thought that was just absolutely. I saw 5 touch this morning and I hit it as soon as I saw it. Like, that's just absolutely crazy to me. Not to mention, what do we know about?
I'm sorry. It's at 4.5, not 3.5. Okay.
That makes same difference, but still at least 5. My point is that 5 was absolutely ridiculous. And the only thing, one other thing I wanted to touch on is that what do we know about Chris Beard and how they play defense? It's they pack it in the no middle defense. Well, guess what happens? That's what's going to happen is they're going to put the ball out, and Kentucky's going to have a whole bunch of shooters out there shooting over the top of them. So I actually really, really like the our matchup for Kentucky's offense here today. I think they're going to drive a lot and kick a lot. I know that a lot is made about Butler being out. I don't think that matters that much here in a situation like this. I think you're going to see Kentucky raining threes all night long.
And just take a step back and look at it from a spot perspective. You have Kentucky coming off an embarrassing loss, a game where they were favored by double digits, lost at home. It was embarrassing, humiliating loss for Kentucky. On the Ole Miss side, they're coming off a game where they didn't get humiliated. They gave it that was their best fastball and fell short. So as far as motivation, it's like Kentucky in a bounce back spot, and Ole Miss may be feeling a little bit like, shit, are we good enough to do this or not? Because that was the best we could play, and we still lost. So I think, Kentucky's the move here.
And
Next game.
I also think that we have to start asking ourselves, how good is Ole Miss? I think that we thought they were really good to start conference play. They started 4-0, and they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. Now, at least 2 of those teams, Kentucky's way better than. You can flip a coin with Texas A&M depending on how they look that day, but I don't think that Kentucky's just some step down in class. So Ole Miss still has some proving to do. So to do it by 5 or 3.5 is just too much to ask for me.
Next. Next up, Vanderbilt, Florida. I said Florida team total over. But I don't really know much about Vanderbilt, so this is nothing for me. I don't think you have a bet on either. Go ahead.
I don't have a bet on it, but I definitely think that I would guess that Florida would be the side. It's just that when Vanderbilt has went on the road, it's been pretty bad. On the road at Oklahoma, they got absolutely blown out. You and I watched most of that game. It was on the little TV, but as soon as I think that Oklahoma went on like a 30-2 run or something crazy like that. But regardless, they got absolutely blown out on the road. They got blown out by Alabama on the road. They got blown out by Missouri on the road. And Mississippi State, who's not a very good basketball team, hasn't been playing good for a while, still beat them by 10. And that game was at home. So I just have a hard time believing that. I know that Vanderbilt has a couple decent wins. The Tennessee win was really impressive. The win against Kentucky was really impressive. But both of those were hard-fought games that they won at home. Same thing with South Carolina, and they barely beat South Carolina. And the one thing that we know about South Carolina is they're fantastic at home. They're bad on the road. So Vanderbilt beating South Carolina by 3 at home really isn't that impressive. So for them to go on the road to Florida and keep this game close after Florida just got absolutely embarrassed. They couldn't shoot for anything. Florida 4 for 27 from deep in that Tennessee game. I have a hard time believing they don't shoot close to 40% or something like that at home, what they're normally used to doing. So I definitely Florida, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm not betting this one. Next game, I'm not betting the next one either. You bet this shit. And you know what? Freaking Trev and Huffer bet this shit too. You guys all bet this stupid, what? You guys all have a bet in this game.
What did they bet?
They all both have Florida State money line.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah. I just think that they're just a much better team coming off.
You're on the over, I thought, right?
No, I played, or did I play over?
I thought wait, maybe I looked at it wrong. Notre Dame. Yeah, over 142.5.
That's what I did. Okay, yeah, that's what I did. Okay, so I forgot about that. Now you had me thinking about Florida State. So I was on Florida State their last game against Boston College, and they absolutely pissed down their leg. They were up by 4 with 7 seconds to go. They made a Boston College made a basket. They turned it over, and then they hit a 3 at the end of the game to win it. But the last 10 minutes of that game, Boston College went on a huge run, but Florida State was really controlling that game. So I do think that Florida State should be able to put points on this Notre Dame team that really defensively is one of the worst teams in the conference. The only thing that they really do is they've been kind of gang rebounding a little bit. I will give them that credit, but because they're not the biggest team in the world, but I don't think they're going to be able to rebound well against Florida State, who's much bigger. Both these teams, Florida State runs a pretty damn fast pace. Notre Dame doesn't like to run a fast pace, but Notre Dame can shoot the lights out. They are the best team in the conference shooting the 3-ball. So add that on the fact that they're going to be turning the ball over a lot. So Florida State's probably going to get a whole bunch of buckets in transition. I just felt that this game was going to go over. Again, Florida State isn't a good basketball team, but they've shown that they are very capable offensively, essentially scoring 75 plus in every game this season. I just feel like Notre Dame will definitely be able to put on points. I was leaning Florida State because they did fire their coach, and I see that angle, or their coach is going to be stepping away, and I see that angle. But I just played the over.
So I don't know enough about these teams to say anything, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't kind of want to take Notre Dame money line, because Florida State, I've watched one game. I watched Notre Dame versus Rutgers early in the season, and I watched Florida State versus Miami. So I've watched one game for each team, and the fact that everyone's just so overwhelmingly confident taking Florida State, like, that is not a good team to be like the heavy public side. I don't know. I'd never just move on.
Well,
I'm not betting it.
I know. And just to that point, the only other part to the Florida State side is that Notre Dame, another one of those teams, that's really bad on the road. I'm not going to go through their whole schedule, but it's been really, really bad on the road. I think their only road win in conference is Virginia. And if you lose at Virginia at this point,
I would take Virginia before Florida State at this point. Next. Purdue, Iowa, and this is where Toast, Trev, Hooper, they all just don't get it. Iowa loses the big man. What do? They turn up the speed. Purdue slow pace. They're going to be uncomfortable here on the road. Hawkeye Nation is going to be buzzing. The building's going to be rumbling. I got a feeling. That's all I'm going to say. You guys all laid the points for Purdue comfortably. Go ahead. Enjoy.
I'm not comfortable about it. I don't like it anymore. I bet this yesterday at the Newark airport because I was bored. No, I'm just kidding. I really liked Purdue. My real thoughts was I thought I was going to pet Purdue at open. Everybody was going to find out about the big man news. That line was going to inflate and I was going to have a good number. But that didn't happen. So I really don't love my Purdue bet. The fact that this line was 6.5, 7, essentially the whole day. Maybe it's at 7.5 now, whatever. I do think Purdue has huge advantages, especially at the point guard position. I think the Braden Smith TKR pick and roll is going to absolutely just slaughter Iowa. So if you think that Iowa is going to get up and run to and score some points on Purdue, I would probably play an over or Iowa team total over because I think everybody knows, if you're watching this show still at this point, that the Iowa defense is by far the worst in the conference. 18th as far as efficiency, effective field goal percentage, 3-point defense, 2-point defense. The only thing they don't do well is they don't foul a whole bunch. But the Iowa defense is absolutely terrible, and I do think that the Purdue offense should absolutely shred this team. So again, if you think that Iowa's going to get out and score in transition, because they do play a very fast pace, they're very contrasting paces. Kyle was right about that. I would play Iowa team total over, or just over in general, because Purdue should score as well.
What you're not getting is the pace. You briefly mentioned it, but this is a factor.
You also have the best point guard, what if not probably we can argue about who's the best point guard in America. Top 3 point guard in America, and Braden Smith.
He's going to be uncomfortable.
I think he's going to be able to slow it down.
Iowa money line.
Wants to slow it down.
Iowa money line.
I don't feel nearly as confident as when I placed this bet. I thought this line would get to at least 9, and it went the opposite way, if not, depending on where we're at now.
Everyone's so comfortable laying 7.5. This Purdue team has looked very shaky at times. They're going to fumble the bag here. Everyone has just bailed on Iowa now. Now's the time to buy the dip on Iowa.
I bailed on Iowa after the UCLA game or the USC game. I think
they got their asses beat in the UCLA game.
I know the USC game, they were in it and they didn't. I can't remember which one I bet. I didn't bet Iowa and UCLA. I can't remember. It does. Oh, it was Minnesota. That's the one. Whatever. Fuck Hawkeyes.
Next up, Georgetown Xavier. I took Georgetown plus 8.5 and the money line here. I'm on the Hoyas. I don't really understand the line. So as you guys know, I'm not the biggest college basketball guy, so maybe I'm a sucker here. Xavier laying 8+. What? This isn't Marquette. Like, I don't understand the line. So maybe this is a big sucker bet, but it seems like the market just overreacted to a few bad games here for Georgetown. If you take the full body of work into consideration, this number should be 4.
I mean, I would agree that 8 is a lot, or especially 8.5 is a lot. It's just you have two teams going in opposite directions for me. Georgetown was very good to us for a while, and I'm not even talking about covering and stuff, but as far as looking good, I mean, they really haven't looked that great since the beginning of January. They got that pretty good win on the road against Villanova, but I don't really know what to think of Villanova. Villanova can look really, really good at times. They can look really bad at times. I don't really put the loss of Creighton, I don't really downgrade them because that was a lucky ass shot, but still Villanova's not some team that is super respected right now. And then Georgetown's only other win was a 3-point win against Butler. And that game was at home. They haven't looked particularly well on the road besides that Villanova game I mentioned. Seton Hall, everybody gets to beat Seton Hall. And then you have a Xavier team that is kind of starting to get healthy now that Fremantle's back in the fold 100% and whatnot. Since that St. John's loss, they've looked really, really good. Back in January, or the beginning of January, they lost to St. John's again in overtime, and then they went on the road and lost to Creighton. But again, that on the road at Creighton is a very, very tough place to play. So I don't really downgrade them that too much there. I do lean Xavier here. I wouldn't. There's no chance in hell that I would lay the points with them. I only think that they would win. So I guess I would be Georgetown in the points if I had to pick ATS. But I do think that Xavier's in a pretty decent spot. Xavier's defense is very, very good. Georgetown's not going to be able to get anything from the outside, and they're going to have to do everything inside. And guys like Fremantle and everybody else, Jerome Hunter and stuff, I trust the Xavier defense to show up here tonight.
He's on Xavier.
No, he said he's on Xavier on the money line, but if you had to bet it against the spread,
oh, did you?
Yes.
I thought you said it leaned Xavier out.
So it's just I'm going back and forth because it's just really hard for me. So I apologize for that.
Can you mute that guy, please? What are you doing, dude?
Who, Dr. Booby?
No, the guy who's posted the same thing 100 times in a row.
Oh, Jesus, dude. I mean, seek help, dude.
But I
mute that guy, Dr. Boobies, too. I've had enough of him.
Sorry, Doctor.
So, all right, let's move on to the next game.
We'll say this, it'd be a live betting situation. Like if Georgetown gets out early and Xavier hasn't hit a whole bunch of threes, that Xavier plus some points could be a decent look because Xavier's 3-point shooting is like one of the best in the conference.
USC Northwestern. Clearly, the market doesn't give a shit that Northwestern's missing one of their best players. The barnyard dog, Barnheiser. I was calling him the Barn in the chat for the pump fake pod, and people were responding like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking. Like, I didn't know if that's I don't know if that's even his real nickname. I was like, guys, you're betting Northwestern without the Barn? Like, just like I don't even know if that's his real nickname. All jokes aside, though, Northwestern did just lose a key piece. His name's Barnheiser, and I believe he's out for the year, right?
Yeah, he was like what made them kind of special with him and Martinelli. They're both 6'6", 6'7". They can kind of shoot. They can shoot the ball pretty well. They kind of feed off of each other really well. So having him out, those two big guys are one of the big, really going to hurt them. So I played under 141 here. I think that this both of these teams play really, really slow. The Northwestern offense is absolutely terrible. The only thing that makes them really good is that they don't turn the ball over, but everything, they're just they have a really hard time scoring, and they really use their height to score, like we just talked about with those two guys. And now one of those guys is missing. So I have a pretty good feeling that the USC defense is going to look pretty good here today. And then as far as the USC offense, not a team that I really trust. I know that their numbers are somewhat decent, but this Northwestern defense has been pretty decent. They match up height-wise with them pretty damn well. The only thing that you really have to worry about with Northwestern is teams shooting the 3-ball over them, and USC hasn't really shown us that they can really play well down in competition. USC's looked really good against teams that look like Michigan State. They went on the road in Nebraska, on the road in Illinois, but when they've played these lower level teams like Wisconsin, or I guess Wisconsin's not a lower level team, but like Iowa and whatnot, they've been giving up. They haven't really looked as well. So, but their defense since those games have been playing much better. The USC defense over the last month is, when I was looking on Haslam the other day, as like a top 15 defense. So they've actually found something. I think they've switched the lineup around a little bit. That should be I think a boost for them. And I also do think that going on the road I just kind of downgrade them a little bit. So, and I do think that Northwestern should be able to stop them inside. Not to mention the fact USC can't hit free throws to save their life. So I think this is going to be a super slow-paced game. You're going to have Northwestern kind of feeling their offense out without the big man, and USC with an offense that I don't really trust on the road. And if they're going to have to rely on the 3-balls, I'll trust that this game's going to go under.
So, the Juice in the comments said, The men of Troy been figuring it out. Barnheiser out matters.
Agreed.
And he's on USC because I saw him talking last night that he's on USC. Last night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, Circa had this as a pick. It's now Northwestern -3.
Yeah.
So
That's simple. I trust me, dude. I felt the same way, and I really wanted to bet USC, and I ended up going under because I assumed there's clearly the books are not worried.
They don't think USC can score.
Yeah, they're clearly okay with giving you 2.5 and a big plenty money line prize. Maybe it gets to 3 by the tip time, but clearly they're okay with that. So I think that both offenses are going to struggle here today because if the books think that USC is going to struggle, I definitely think Northwestern is going to struggle. So we'll see.
I'm passing. Fuck that. Next. This is where you're all wrong. You guys all took Baylor. Hooper took Baylor. Trevor took Baylor. You're on Baylor. This is where, okay. First of all, is Edgecombe playing? He's not, right? I'm assuming he's not playing because he can barely put weight on his foot.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, so those of you who watched the second half of that Baylor-Kansas game, yeah, Baylor came back and won. It was awesome. I live bet Baylor at +300. We all had Baylor in the group. It was awesome. Let's be real about what we saw there. That was not Baylor's offense working. That was circus shit going in and them getting fortunate whistles. I mean, every single possession when Baylor would score and take and get a little bit closer, score and bring it down to 8, score, bring it down to 6. Every single possession, my reaction to the bucket was, God damn, we got lucky on that one. There was like that offense was not working. That freshman took the ball. The shot clock was running down. Nothing was working. He said, fuck it. Went into the lane, threw something up, and it went in. And also, I thought that they got a few bailout calls there down the stretch. Now, again, I'm not a scoring Kansas better. I was on Baylor. I loved it. I'm just saying, let's be objective about what we saw there. This Baylor offense looked like shit after Edgecombe went down. It looked like shit. They kept making circus shots. Throughout the course of that game, Kansas offense looked way more fluent. They were executing way better. They were getting the open looks. Baylor was not. I'm happy we got the win, but if Edgecombe isn't playing, Baylor cannot score. That offense looked like shit. So on the road in Lubbock, I wouldn't be surprised if they're held to 50 points here.
I disagree. I think that we have a major coaching advantage with Scott Drew teaching one of his young lads in Grant McCasland of how to do things. I think this Baylor team is going to be extremely ready for anything that Texas Tech throws at them. Not to mention that Trevor put me onto this a couple weeks ago, but anytime that any team after you play a team like Houston, it's just really not easy for you guys. And now they have to travel back home and face a hungry Baylor team off an overtime win against Houston, which is even worse. I think that Edgecombe, regardless if he plays or not, O'Wright should be able to keep them in the game. I think that he's playing with a huge different level of huge confidence here. Obviously, he went off for 24 against Kansas, but guess what?
So you think he can replicate that, bro?
He also went off for 22 on the road at Baylor, or on the road at BYU. So now that this kid's getting the ball, now that this kid's getting the ball in his hand, his confidence level's at a new all-time high. I think we're going to be all right here. So I just feel like 8.5 is way too many. I think that both these teams are really good basketball teams. Texas Tech's clearly the better team, but neither one of these teams like to get out and run at all. I know that the Baylor offense hasn't been great, but the Baylor defense is a top 5 defense in the conference. They don't put teams at the line. Baylor can shoot free throws themselves. I think that Baylor's going to be just fine here today. I made this game like 5. Texas Tech is really good, but again, they're also coming off the Houston game. They have Arizona on the road on deck. So let's just say that if Baylor's not so good like everybody thinks, this would be a definite sleepy spot for Texas Tech, or sandwich in between those two big games. Baylor bears up. No one wanted to believe Saturday either. No one wanted to believe.
You even said it yourself. Baylor made a bucket to bring it down to 6. You were here. And you were like, you didn't even celebrate or anything.
It was my biggest bet of the weekend.
I know. And you know what you said? I said, you were like, I can't even celebrate because that was a shit possession. Because you literally said that.
I was emotional.
All right, block that guy, please. I don't know where these freaks come from.
Which one?
The
now?
one posting the same thing over and over
My
again.
God. I mean, we need to get the tarp out. It's the same game, too. Jake, get a life.
Yeah, next up.
That game sucks, too.
Michigan State, UCLA. I thought I think it was Trevor made a pretty strong case for Michigan State last night. I just said I agreed and tailed, but I didn't really know. So last night on the show I picked Michigan State, but to be honest, I don't really know. I was just tailing what Trev said, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely Michigan State as well. I said a while ago that there's one of those teams that you just don't fade, and obviously they lost that USC game, but now they've been out in California for a few days now, multiple days now. It's not like they have to change hotels and all that stuff, as Mick Cronin classically said the other day in his press conference. So I don't really worry about them being on the West Coast. I don't really worry about Michigan State not being able to hit the 3-ball, because they've figured out ways to win games without the 3-ball all year. And that's like such a big glaring thing with them. And yeah, you're right. UCLA does a really good job of that no middle type of defense as well, when they hedge out of everything and they can get everybody off kilter. But I don't think that you're going to have to worry about that with this Michigan State team that's kind of been through the ringer already this year. I mean, this is a Michigan State team that's played one of the hardest schedules in the country, a top 40 schedule in the country. Not to mention they've played teams like Illinois and stuff like that recently as well. So the USC game, yeah, it wasn't really great. I will give them that. But at the same time, I don't feel like this UCLA team is going to be presenting them anything special that Michigan State's not going to be able to see. Is the UCLA defense good? Yeah, it's all right, but it's not anything like the Michigan State defense. That's the best, by far the best defense in this conference. So really the question to me is that does the UCLA offense and the Michigan State offense match up well? And I would give the edge to the Michigan State offense. So I mean, and that's kind of what made it simple for me. The Michigan State is better offensively. They're much better defensively. I know that UCLA has had weird trips and they've had to go across the country and stuff like that. But regardless, their defense hasn't performed up to expectations. It's rated out as one of the worst in the conference so far. Will that get better? I don't know. But not to mention the fact that Sparty has a huge rebounding advantage as well. They're the best offensive rebounding team in the conference. UCLA, one of the worst defensive rebounding teams in the conference. So I'll take the team that I think is going to shoot the free throws better, and probably win the rebounding battle as well. So I'm definitely lean Sparty as well.
I like this guy in the comments, Snowman. He's like, I loved when Toast fades UCLA. And he's not just saying that once. He's said that pretty consistently. I don't know if he's a UCLA fan, but it's UCLA is on a bit of a hot streak. Although I believe Washington did cover the plus 5.5 at the closing line a couple of games back. So I believe.
But I have definitely taken a couple L's against the Bruins in the last couple of weeks. So
for sure.
You know what's worse about that is that I'm one of the ones that only believed in the Bruins.
You did early on.
Yeah. And then I jumped off the ship.
You
I
bailed.
couldn't take it anymore.
So yeah, if I bet that game, I would just be tailing these guys on Michigan State. I don't really have a strong opinion on it. And this game, I have no idea. I put it on here because Toast has a bet.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona BYU.
Yeah, I definitely bet on BYU for me. I think this is a really, really good spot for them. I think that Arizona's been kind of teetering on a loss here for a while now. I mean, I know that the Oklahoma State and the Colorado games were kind of blowouts, but the Iowa State game was obviously extremely lucky. Obviously, a lot of us had Arizona in that game, very similar to the Baylor game that Sauce talked about. It was awesome to see that happen because we were on that side, but how often are we going to get a last-second full-court three-pointer to send us to overtime and then to win overtime by double digits?
And we were on a live stream during it. That was wild.
Yeah. So, and then they come off, and then they go and play Arizona State, which was their rival. And that game was really, really close and kind of until the end. We had that on one of the TVs. So I just don't really like the spot for Arizona. I like the spot for BYU. They're playing really well. After that Baylor game, I was kind of worried about them having kind of a letdown spot against UCF, who I feel like UCF is a little bit better than a lot of people give them credit for. And they went all the road to UCF and won that game by 6. And they looked really good doing it. And I think this is a really good get-up spot for them. This is one of their home game. They're not going to have another home game for another couple weeks, or at least a week and a half. And they should match up well with Arizona. They can match up with them size-wise. They're much bigger than Arizona, so they're not going to lose on the boards. Arizona gets a lot of extra possessions on the boards, what they're not going to get here tonight. And then BYU offensively, I really think, I know that the BYU defense isn't great, but I do think that the BYU offense is kind of significantly better than Arizona's. I really feel like they're going to absolutely rain 3 balls on this Arizona defense here tonight. I don't think that Arizona's really been tested like this, especially on the road in altitude against a team that's bigger than them and can shoot with them like other teams that they haven't been able to see. So again, I really, really like this spot for BYU. I think that Arizona also has Texas Tech on deck, which I talked about in the Texas Tech game. That's a really big game, especially in the conference. So, again, you got to go on the road to Arizona State. Now you're on the road again against BYU, a team that's really hungry, that's kind of fighting for their lives in the Big 12 conference. I really, really like BYU here tonight.
I might be down to tell that. Prop Beaver, bring that standings up full screen, though. They could cover our face so they could see it. Everyone, peep your eyes to the Swamp Monsters division. Sauce on top, where I belong.
I didn't see that.
Over Helms, over Tinker, over Prop Beaver. I got a load over Bender. I got a loaded.
Where's the prop options on the freaking screen, huh?
Swamp Monsters is such a loaded division this week, and of course, the GOAT is on top. Just wanted to point that out to everyone. By the way, if you're in the league, you have 1 hour and 39 minutes to submit your picks for tonight. Go ahead, get rid of it. Do we have an underdog tonight?
I do have an underdog.
That's the first time Tinker's been green on that sheet in 3 weeks.
Tinker just won the championship.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's the first time he's been red. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I meant.
And he's not even red. He's minus 0.09. So run the community parlay song first.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We community, making a parlay. Yeah.
All right, cool. So Prop Beaver's going to get his underdog. Did your underdog hit last night?
Yes, it did.
God damn, look at this Prop Beaver.
Dude, he's on fire
He
right
is
now.
on
I haven't
fire.
said anything, but I've been tailing most of his bets, and they're hitting at, like, I'm not even going to say.
Yeah. I know. He doesn't want you to jinx him.
I don't talk about these things. Okay, so we've got 2 plays here. We got Klay Thompson higher than 19 points, rebounds, and assists. Talked about that earlier, my top bet of the day. And we got Tyrese Halliburton lower than 12.5 rebounds and assists. They don't currently have the assist option open, but I'm actually fine with the compromise here. Portland also deadly at limiting point guard rebounds as well, so fine with the rebounds and assists lower than at 12.5 as well. The promo of the day is still Travis Kelce over a half total yard for our new customers. So if you're not a new customer yet and would like to sign up, you could either replace one of those legs, add a third leg on for that boosted payout. And obviously, if you're not one of those customers and would like to sign up, you can do so in one of these lovely yellow states. Just got to use the promo code BET, B-E-T, and you could get a deposit match up to $1,000. Last thing I need to say regarding Underdog, this Sunday, you can get a no-sweat entry. Yes, you either win your entry this Sunday or you get the credits back in a bonus credit. So it's either win or it's no sweat with Underdog, promo code BET.
Tinker says it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You know what I need to start doing is tracking everyone's like long-term success, because I think Tinker would probably be the highest earnings of all of us.
Oh, he has to be. He's
yeah.
Well,
you know who else is like, he doesn't talk much. There's a guy in there named Jay Steve. You know who I'm talking about? Jay Steve?
Yeah.
He doesn't talk much, but he wins a lot too. There's a couple sneaky, sharp people in there that don't do much talking, but they're towards the top of the standings every single week.
The only reason I remember Tinker is because I know that he's been up there and hadn't won.
Well, that's
for a
why
couple
he's
weeks,
memorable,
too.
is because he made the championship like 6 times before he actually won it, and he was the Dak Prescott of the league. The first leg is Sixers money line, by the way, Prop Beaver.
Okay.
Yeah, he was getting known as the Dak Prescott of the league. He finally won. Now he has like 2 or 3 championships, though. Actually, Lakers, they voted for him.
You said Joel Embiid's playing for the Sixers tonight?
He's listed as questionable. I don't think they even know.
No, he got announced active.
Good Lord.
So my team total run dies already?
Yeah, it's going to slow it down. I mean, depending on... Did you bet it last night?
Yes. Been like 3 straight money makers.
Yeah, Helm said J. Steve Villain. That guy. He's pretty sharp in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't talk much, but he's always towards the top. Steez is usually towards the bottom.
I don't know who the Philadelphia head coach is anymore, but if you take out minutes for Yabusele and give him to Embiid, he's clearly not watching basketball.
Yeah, Yabusele is.
I get it.
He's an absolute hound dog.
Next up, bro.
Heat money line is the next. So we're gonna throw some college basketball games in this community parlay because there's actually more options in college basketball tonight. So who do they like? They like Marquette money line.
Love it.
They like. What's the next big game? Purdue. They like Purdue, even though they're wrong.
So Yabusele's still getting the start tonight. Don't worry.
Good.
He's
I'm
starting
just
over
saying,
Paul
like
George.
I played the over like 4 nights ago. Then Kyle's like, I'm gonna should play the team total every day. It's one of those bets that he said to make, but he's not betting himself. And I've been betting it every day and winning every day.
Yeah, I told Toast, 2 bets in a row I gave him, didn't bet on myself, and they hit.
Yeah, that was my lone concern with the Klay Thompson over today was the fact that, well, if Embiid comes back, the pace is going to slow down, but whatever.
That's true, Helms. Steez did have a crazy 3-week run where he was in the playoffs of the league 3 weeks in a row. So I do have to give Steez credit. There was like a 3-week stretch where he couldn't miss.
Did LeBron get traded to Oklahoma City yet, or no?
How do you join the league? Oh, it's for people in the Discord. So if you're signed up on the website, you get access to the Discord, and then when you're in the Discord, it gets posted. It's for the members of the group, but the group's open to anyone. But that's who. It's a betting. Oh, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's a betting league that we do, where every single week it resets. So every Monday, everyone starts at 0. And you submit picks and you compete in your division. And at the end of the week, the division winners compete for the championship. I give the champion $150 cash and a trophy. So I mail these to the champions. I got to get basketball ones. So I don't have basketball ones yet, but I'm getting basketball ones. So yeah, it's honestly, it's more just like fun. It's like because when you've been in the group for a while, we all know each other in there. So when you're battling like someone, it's someone you know. So like the longer you do it, the more fun it gets when you get to know the people of the group. Because I mean, like I talk to the people in that group more than I talk to like my own best friend, like more than I talk to my own family. Like that group is my family. I talk to them more than anybody.
Are we taking the top 2 from this one?
No, just the top 1. I should have sped it up though. One more poll. It's Marquette moneyline that I spelled wrong.
I know when my wife's mad because she'll say something like, "Do you want to run it to your friends in the Discord?"
Yep.
I'm like, "Okay, lady."
Sounds about right. All right. What's the last leg of the community parlay? Cast your votes. Cast your votes. Tinker says league's been fun. Can't wait for baseball. Yeah, the baseball league was kind of crazy. That's when we started the league. Was last baseball season. I have a vision for it where like it's going to get more involved. Right now, there's a lot of people that subscribe to the website. Only about 50 or 60 people compete in the league, participate. Well, I mean, which is fine. Whoever wants to participate can. But in order for me to like dump money into it to make it sweet, like I would need more people to participate. But I'm down to like make it like really sweet, like implement it into the app where you can see here. I'm down to spend money to do that, but I need more than like 50 or 60 people. So we'll see if more people get into it. I don't care. It's fun with the 50 or 60 people that participate every week. It's fun how it is now. So even if it doesn't grow any bigger, it's fine with me. It's Michigan State money line, prop Beaver.
Okay. I already put that. I just got to try and calculate this in my head.
In your head, you're going to calculate it? I'll do it.
I'm kidding.
So what is it? Read me the teams.
Michigan State.
Can you? All right.
Marquette.
I was on NBA, so let me switch over. Marquette. Michigan State. Michigan State. All right. What are the NBA teams?
The Heat and the 76ers.
Heat. Plus 1044. Wow. Community's feeling you feeling froggy? Leap then.
Holy shit.
Plus 1044 from the community parlay. Community's feeling aki tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. Be back at midnight. Got another loaded college basketball day tomorrow. Be me, Toast, and probably Trev. I didn't talk to him, but I'm sure he's down. So see you all in 6.5 hours. Everyone have a good one. Bet responsibly tonight. Got an hour and a half to submit your picks for the league if you're in. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me. Later.